I'm happy to be joined today on Primetime Local News, all the way from Australia, by Paul Miles. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me on, Stacey. Great to be here with you.
Now we're going to talk about this book, and this book that you have is so unique. I don't think there's been anything done ever like this before. This one is called CRÜEWÖRDS. Now you are a Motley Crue expert on the band. You've been following them for a long time. We have a lot of work that you've done that we'll talk about, but tell me about CRÜEWÖRDS. What inspired it, and what can people find when they look into this book?
Well, I believe it's the first crossword puzzle book on a musical artist, dedicated to a musical artist. I haven't been able to find another one that's been published, so it's a little bit of a first there. But look, the way it came about is I've been documenting the history of the band over the last 20 years. It was back in the mid-90s that I started writing about all their crazy shenanigans they used to get up to, and putting that in order of a timeline. And I ran that online as a website for over 20 years, and it became kind of a history of the band. And then once we got into this worldwide pandemic situation in lockdown, you know, people obviously can't go to concerts at the moment, and you know, stuck at home a lot more, looking for things to do and a bit of boredom. So what I did was I basically went through all of the history of the band that I'd documented over the years, and put together this crossword puzzle book for fans to enjoy and give them something to do while we're spending a lot more time at our home sweet homes.
Now, I've had a chance to go through it, and I've checked out some of the puzzles, and you really, if you're a fan of the band, it kind of prompts you to go through it, but you don't need to be a super fan, I guess, to get the book, right? You can still, there's all,
Yeah.
you know, it's categories of different decades, and how long did it take you to put this together, and what did you have to kind of keep in mind when you were getting the puzzles going?
Yeah, so I got the idea in the middle of the year, which was my winter and your summer up there in the Northern Hemisphere. And it probably took me about 8 weeks to kind of pull all the questions and answers together. There's over 2,000 questions and answers across 40 or more puzzles in the book. So there's certainly a lot in there to keep fans entertained and provide some mind stimulation. You're going to learn a lot about the band along the way as well. So I was very conscious of the fact that the band has got a lot of new fans that have perhaps seen their movie, The Dirt, on Netflix. So I wanted to kind of have a lot of the questions very simple and easy to guess as well. But there are some kind of expert level questions in the puzzles as well to test the more diehard fans that have been around following the band over the last almost 40 years now, since 1981. So there's something in there for everyone, no matter how long you've been a fan. And in fact, I reached out to the team at Netflix, and I got their permission to use a lot of the movie quotes. So you'll see in the crossword puzzle book, there's a couple of crosswords that have a lot of quotes from the movie. You know, I know people like to recite the lines from the movie and things like that. So they're quite fun, those two puzzles.
Now, you have obviously been following, as we said, the band for many, many years now. Tell me about some of the other work that you've done. I saw the chronological crew, and that's just incredible. Tell me about some of the other books that people can look to purchase besides the crossword book.
Yeah, sure. So the history of the band, Chronological Crew, I published that as a 4-volume series. So volume 1 is all about the 80s, then the 90s, etc., going all the way through to about 2015, which is when the band played their final show. Well, we thought it was going to be their final show, but they've got some coming up next summer. So I published those 4 volumes of the history. They're very popular. They detail everything kind of, you know, day by day, month by month, year by year throughout those volumes. I've also toured with the band down here in Australia back in 2005. They toured with Motorhead. So I did all 6 shows in 8 days around Australia, and I documented kind of a tour diary with my all access, you know, talking about everything that transpired on that tour, and that's been a hugely popular book amongst the fans. There's also another one called What Motley Crue Means to Me, and this is where fans had a chance to submit stories about, you know, what the band has meant to them over the years.
Now, just in regards to following Motley Crue, Paul, why did you choose them at the beginning and choose to continue to follow them throughout their career? What was it about them that you became focused on, that you thought this is something that you really wanted to do?
Growing up as a small child in the 70s, Kiss was my favourite band. So I was always attracted to that kind of larger than life rock and roll show and those characters. And then I kind of discovered Motley. It wasn't until the later 80s that I, got introduced to the band, and I just love their music, their image, kind of everything about them. So they quickly became one of my favourite bands. Too Fast for Love was actually the first album I heard, and then the next one was Dr. Feelgood when that came out. But I love the music of the band and the individuals as characters themselves, Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee and Vince Neil, and of course the dark Mick Mars. But once I started kind of reading up a bit more about the band, reading interviews with them in magazines and articles and stuff like that, I was discovering that they had this amazing history where they just got up to all these crazy things over the year. I mean, those of you that have watched their movie The Dirt or read their autobiography, the bestseller The Dirt as well, will know that they've had, all these amazing things like, Vince Neil having a car crash and spending time in jail for vehicular manslaughter, Nikki Sixx overdosing and dying but coming back to life, inspiring the song Kickstart My Heart. Mick has struggled with a debilitating bone disease throughout his life called ankylosing spondylitis, or AS. And Tommy Lee, we all know about his tumultuous relationship with Baywatch star and Pamela Anderson, and doing jail time for spousal abuse there, and just it just seemed like trouble followed these guys along the way as they really had massive success in the rock and roll world, and I just thought these were kind of fascinating tales.
Well, Paul, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. And once again, CRÜEWÖRDS, this is just amazing. And, we're close to Christmas, so a good Christmas gift for a Motley Crue fan or really a hard rock fan. What is the best way to get this book and your other books?
Amazon.com. So if you just go to Amazon or Amazon there in Canada and just search Paul Miles, Motley Crue, you'll find them all. But if you don't want to shop online there, I believe that you can go to your local bookstore and then they can kind of look it up and then order it in. But they get it in from Amazon anyway, because Amazon print them as people order them. So, yeah, that's the best way. Hit up Amazon and have fun, coming up with all the answers. And if you get stuck on an answer, it's okay, because all the solutions are in the back of the book as well. So it's okay to cheat a little bit.
Yes, I did see the cheat notes, and I did have to refer to those a couple of times. But once again, thanks, Paul. We really appreciate you speaking with us today and looking forward to your other projects in the future. So thanks again, and we wish you much success in the future.
Right on. Thanks for having me, Stacey.